Good morning, viewers. It's another Saturday. Today is November 28th, a weekend where you need to spend time with your families, relax, reflect through the week. But here we discuss strategic management, looking at leadership, strategy, and management. Today, we'll be discussing leadership in crisis times, particularly empathetic leadership. With me is a regular guest, Mr. John Wesey, management consultant and CEO of Psyntech Nigeria Limited. Nice to have you, Mr. John.
Thank you, Don. Same to you. Thank you very much. It's nice to be back.
Yes.
Our viewers, what a wonderful time to have you guys join us in this edition. We are happy to be here. Thank God we are alive.
Yeah.
COVID has changed so many things about life, about living, about industry, about governance. You know, we're glad to be here.
I'm looking back, we started this since March and it has been a very unprecedented year. So many things have really happened, but you're looking much refreshed as usual, glowing. I think, like you said, it's been a challenging year, but we have to keep pushing on.
We have to be grateful, Otto. In everything in life, perspectives matter. If you recall in one of our editions, I talked about the mindset you have in a situation that we all find ourselves like this, okay? The perspective you bring to bear in any situation will determine how you will come out of it, and it will influence every aspect of you, okay? We also have our own challenges, but our perspective about it differ. You know, in such situations, in the line of business that we are involved in, we look for opportunities. In the midst of the crisis, there are opportunities. And funny enough, these opportunities are not coming in the way that are traditional. So you will require to make some kind of shift. I will require to make some kind of shift so that we can see those opportunities. If we're expecting traditional opportunities, you and I are going to miss it. So it's an unprecedented period, like we were saying before we came on set, but it's also a season of opportunities. And we will just keep trusting God to give us good health while we live correctly, as the case may be.
And let's start with what empathetic leadership is all about, because, you know, in leadership strategy, we learn every day, and from consultants like you have been there with experiences over decades, it's nice to understand what the concept is all about.
Well, concepts are good because they lay down principles, okay? The word empathetic, or the phrase empathetic leadership, also derives its meaning from the word empathy. And what does empathy say? How do I show concern? How do I show feeling? How do I take other people into my conversation or into context of what is happening? How do I demonstrate that I care? Okay? Even no matter the kind of situation, how do I demonstrate? So when we talk about empathetic leadership, we're saying a leadership that brings, you know, the moral side, the human side, the feeling, the emotional connection, that creates emotional connection. You talk about energies that you bring to bear, that brings everybody, you know, in that context to bear. If you look at our situation, for example, after the NSAS issue that started, the protest, the key issues for me, and maybe for some other people, what have we learned as a nation? What have we learned? Every single one of our leaders, from the highest to the least, what have we learned? What amount of empathy have we demonstrated? The other day I ran into a particular program in one of the TV stations, and I heard there is a new National Youth Democratic Party or something.
It's a Youth Democratic Party.
Yes. So, and I was hearing one of the spokesperson or so. That's the way it's going to be. However, where does empathy come? They must not make the mistakes their fathers, their uncles have made.
The Diamond Generation, yeah.
They must not make that same mistake, because the kind of generation that are available now, they are very strong on empathy. They are very strong on energies, connection, you know, how people relate. It doesn't matter. So empathetic leadership for every one of us, especially with the NSAS incident that took place, you know, across our nation, should call every one of us to do some reflection on how we currently lead. And leadership also has to do with communication, by the way. Yeah. How are we communicating? How are our leaders communicating with us in everything that we do? Are they doing that? So all these things is what you bring to bear. Body language. How do we carry our body language? Until the killings at the Lekki, we all felt Mr. Governor of Lagos was doing very well. And a host of other governors too, by the way. Remember, I was pointing that out. So, but look at what happened, how that party was spoiled. Leadership was on the ground. Then all of a sudden, no matter what any person wants to say, something happened somewhere along the line. And that was bad. Now, even after that happened, what did leadership show? No remorse. At least I haven't seen any.
So the empathetic side is needed.
The empathetic side is needed. The side that says we're also human. Okay, we are sorry. We probably make the wrong call. Okay, but can we move forward? We will support you in X, Y, Z, I, J, K. That's one. Two, we will also look at our governance structure or look at our operating structure in case of future similar incidents. In my few movements, the youths are aggrieved. In fact, if you go to some public places, which I sometimes do, you hear there is a second NSAS coming. You hear, and I'll be asking myself, what do you guys mean? And they said, okay, can't you see what is happening? These guys don't care. They don't even feel that certain things have happened or what we are asking for, is important. So, and I think our leaders, every one of them should be concerned. They also should be careful because times have changed. We need to don a different leadership style and understanding, developing our empathetic skills, which has to do again with emotional intelligence, which we had discussed some time ago. You bring that into bear. It's a whole man thing. It's a 360-degree stuff of who am I? You get my point? And how do I relate to people?
Definitely. I just wanted to bring two scenarios from the West. I know that it may not be quickly replicated here from leaders, but at least a way of, like you said, showing emotional connect, understanding the issues and saying, okay, fine, we'll hear you and we can do that. First was in the US, where the president-elect, Senator Joe Biden, knelt down to apologize to the daughter of George Floyd, who was killed by police. This sparked that Black Lives Matter movement and all on other protests. The way he was killed was quite brutal. It was totally unacceptable. It was surprising that a leader would kneel down to apologize. And then the second was the exchange of letter between Prime Minister Boris Johnson and 8-year-old Monty. She sent a letter asking that if Father Christmas is coming and all that, she hopes they will follow those protocols. And the Prime Minister responded and said, well taken note of and a nice initiative from her. In our nation, we've had the pandemic this year. We've seen efforts by government, but the way people discovered palliatives, warehouses, and devoured them, there was a loss in a level, deficits in trust in governance. And then, of course, the way the protests or NSAS was managed. How would you advise leaders, particularly in the political space, to begin to learning from things that we've brought on, these two scenarios, to connect more, to engage with people and say, look, we know that there's been a challenge, but we are here to serve it.
Thank you, Otto. Let's look at the first one, that President-elect Joe Biden made that gesture to ask for apology. At his level, he is a learner leader. In fact, that's the highest level of leadership, when you are a learner leader. He knelt down to apologize. Has that removed anything from him? Nothing. He is still president-elect. He is still Joe Biden. He is still a senator. So whatever you have accomplished, whatever I've accomplished, there are times we need to stoop low. There are times we need to demonstrate empathy. There are times we need to connect and pull people towards us. And whatever action that you and I need to do, we should do it. That was exemplary. People can see any kind of meaning to that. But what he tried to do, in my view, was to draw the family closer to him. I know what you're going through because I've also lost my son, even though not in similar circumstance. But I know what a loss of a human soul is. Now, so whoever you are, when you sit down much later on, even if you are cynical, in your quiet moments, you will know that was a very humble and gracious move to make. You know, the only thing I will just say is I hope it was sincere.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the other letter by the young child to the UK Prime Minister, again, she wasn't asking for anything unusual. She wasn't asking for anything unusual because over there you could express yourself. So the child was only expressing herself. We would like Father Christmas to come, but Father Christmas must do what? Observe the protocols. Is that an impossible request to ask Mr. Prime Minister? And the Prime Minister responded and said, no, it will happen. Leadership that does what? That listens. Our leaders should listen. There is this air some of us carry by whatever achievement we think we have accomplished. And that air, to a large extent, until we face a major crisis, we do not carry ourselves with such level of humility. And that's important. The Prime Minister came down to the level of his citizen because he needs to listen to a citizen.
So in essence, you don't just think that you know it all. The engagement with citizens must become with a body language, clear understanding that, look, we don't always have all the right solutions, but we connect with you and we know that we can work together to achieve something.
Just demonstrate that you are listening, and listening effectively, by the way. So when the Prime Minister responded, you get my point? The Prime Minister was only responding to the fact that, listen, I heard you. I got your mail, and I'm responding. And that's what we are telling our leaders here, all over Africa as well. Demonstrate effective listening and see what your citizens will do. Citizens will respond. Then when you ask citizens to make sacrifices, because they see you are also making those sacrifices, what will they do? They will join the bandwagon. They will join the queue. So that's exactly what we're talking about. One of the things we also must learn, when we learn, we should not, when we listen, rather, one of the things we must learn, don't listen to respond. We always tell people. We say you should listen to do what? You should listen to understand. That's critical.
Listen to understand, don't listen to respond.
Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand first. Yes, listen to understand what the person is saying. And when you listen to understand what the person is saying, it's easy for you to connect. I might be making a request from you, for example, but the fact that you listened, body, soul, and spirit, like I say, you listen, body, soul, and spirit, and eventually you still told me no. I will accept your no with such purity and say, oh, he even listened to me. You get the point?
Yeah.
You say, oh, he listened to me. You know, sometimes when some people get you and they call you and they say, wow, I couldn't believe you picked my call. And I said, really? I said, why not? I return every call. It's standard. I may not return it the time you probably will want because of my own schedule. And I can send you an SMS. Hi, sorry I missed your call. Or who is this place? You know, for example, recently a client chatted with me. And I didn't have that client's number. You know, and I just said, hi, how are you? I'm sorry, I don't know who this is. Could you please identify yourself? And by the time the client was going to respond, I'm telling you of a recent incident that happened this week. And by the time the client was going to respond, he said, this is impossible. I said, what? The person identified himself or herself and said, this is different. I said, no, it's only courteous. You will not call me or you will not send me this chat if you didn't know me. So there is this drive to remain human, empathy. There is this drive to still know that you still don't know anything, that there is still so much to learn about leadership and about connection. So that's a quick example. I can talk about empathy, communication, bringing the human side to our reality, as the case may be.
And we'll leave it at that, Mr. John Wesey. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
mean, quite inspiring. One major thing I take away is you must always listen to understand, not just listen to respond. It will help in empathetic leadership, which we need in this time. Thank you for the time. Mr. John Wesey,
thank you.
CEO, Psyntech Nigeria Limited, and leadership management consultant. And that was a very interesting session looking at leadership in crisis times, empathetic leadership. We need it not just in the political space, but in every sphere of leadership. And that will help to navigate us in this challenging phase. Thank you for being part of the show, Strategic Management Program. Every weekend, you get a conversation around leadership management and strategy. You can join our website, www.prostrategy.com. On the WebTV bar, you would watch the videos on strategic management where we have incisive discussions around leadership in these times. Till next edition, thank you for being part of the show. Have a nice day, and God bless.